Major developments are rocking the medical and political worlds as prestigious institutions break their silence and leak bombshell reports that warn of a looming tsunami of vaccine-related deaths among the COVID-vaccinated population in the next 5 years. Why now? Because Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s appointment as Health Secretary marks a turning point. The era of deceit and propaganda is coming to an end, and RFK is ready to hold Big Pharma accountable, dismantle the COVID cartel, and expose the mainstream media's complicity. This isn't just a medical crisis, it's a moral reckoning. Millions of lives hang in the balance, and the world deserves answers before more are lost. Stay tuned. This is only the beginning of a seismic shift. Big Pharma, government regulators, and the mainstream media are working hand in hand to cover up the devastating consequences of the COVID-19 vaccine rollouts. They're not just denying the harm, they're developing so-called fact-checkers to churn out increasingly absurd rebuttals designed to protect the goldmine that is mRNA technology. According to the establishment, they don't know what's causing the explosion in cancer rates and heart failure, but they do know it's not the vaccines. Don't waste your breath asking them to explain their logic. They're not interested in hearing from real people or acknowledging their experiences with the vaccines. This is exactly why the government has consistently refused to conduct vaccine versus unvaccinated studies since the 1980s, when vaccine companies were granted immunity from liability. It's not about transparency or public health. It's about protecting a system that puts profits and power above accountability. But the people have had enough of being treated like sheep, dismissed and ignored. And the US finally has a health secretary in Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is capable of understanding the deception and bringing the COVID cartel to its knees. Already, we are beginning to see a degree of truth emerge from the mainstream medical institutions as they attempt to save themselves from the wrath of Kennedy's health department. The Cleveland Clinic led the way recently, issuing a stark warning about a tsunami of deaths in the next 5 years among the vaccinated. Remember, since myocarditis was linked to the COVID vaccines, Anthony Fauci and the mainstream media have been trying to convince everybody that myocarditis is no big deal. But in a recent update to its website, the world-renowned medical center acknowledged that they are expecting 50% of those afflicted with the vaccine side effect to die within the next 5 years. This is staggering news. We're talking about tens of millions of vaccinated people in the US alone. It gets even worse when you consider the American Heart Foundation has admitted that 90% of the vax population now have deadly heart defects. According to new research, an astounding number of fully vaccinated people now have cardiovascular kidney metabolic syndrome. Every major organ in the body is affected by CKM, including the heart, brain, kidney, and liver, with the worst damage occurring in blood vessels, heart muscle, and the cardiovascular system. Yet the mainstream media continues to work overtime misleading the people on behalf of their paymasters Big Pharma. According to the media, RFK Jr. as Secretary of Health spells chaos. But let's look at the bigger picture. Pfizer's stock has been in freefall since the announcement, and that tells the real story. Big Pharma knows its golden age of unchecked power and profit is coming to an end. The mainstream media is also running out of time. Their days of spinning narratives and manipulating public perception are numbered. Accountability is coming, and when it arrives, there'll be no hiding from the consequences of their role in the crisis that unfolded.
Imagine a population so brainwashed that you could convince them to be terrified of a virus that they've never seen, while spraying them daily in broad daylight in the sky, only for them to deny it's happening to them because no one on TV told them it was.
A new study reveals the tragic truth for the brainwashed who took the global elite at their word and allowed themselves to be injected with an experimental gene therapy product. You are 4,520 times more likely to die from the COVID vaccine than from COVID itself.
Vaccine was 94.5% effective.
The so-called 95% efficiency rate touted by the pharmaceutical companies was misleading, to say the least. A peer-reviewed study by The Lancet confirms the vaccine efficiency of 95% reported by the vaccine manufacturers was referring to relative risk reduction, rather than absolute risk reduction, as would be standard. Your actual risk of reduction of getting COVID after the vaccine has then been reduced by 1.2% with Moderna, 1.2% with Johnson & Johnson, and by less than 1% with Pfizer. Meaning after you receive the vaccine, on average, you are 99% just as likely to get COVID. This raises 3 questions. By getting a vaccine, how would you be helping other people? If you have natural immunity, as 50% of the population likely does, why would you still be required to get the vaccine? And if the vaccine doesn't stop the spread, why would you need a vaccine passport? Once you've applied a moment of critical thinking, you'll find anyone advocating these requests is either uninformed, irrational, or has an ulterior motive for suggesting everyone should be vaccinated. Let's summarize this by crunching a few official numbers. The Pfizer NNV is 117, meaning 117 people need to be vaccinated to prevent one COVID case. That's to prevent a COVID case, not a COVID death. Since the median survival rate of the virus itself is 99.86, that means 999 out of 1,000 cases survive. So you would need to prevent 1,000 cases to prevent one death. That means you would need to vaccinate 117,000 people to save one life. By the first half of 2021, about 134 million people in America have been fully vaccinated. So far, 10,355 people have died in the first 6 months of 2021 in the US alone. That means 56 people a day are dying immediately after receiving the vaccine. Due to underreporting, that actual number of deaths is likely significantly higher, and officials and CDC whistleblowers estimate it to be at 51,800. But we'll continue with the officially released numbers. 134 million people vaccinated divided by 10,355 official deaths from the vaccine results in 12,940. This means COVID vaccines kill, at a minimum, 1 out of every 12,940 people that are vaccinated. So if you vaccinate 117,000 people to save one life, 9.04 people would die from the vaccine. When you average all the age groups, you find that you are 904% more likely to die from the COVID vaccine than for it to save your life. That's bad enough with the official deflated numbers. With a more likely estimate of 51,800 deaths, that means you are 4,520% more likely to die from a COVID vaccine than to be saved by one. And the likelihood of developing a lifelong debilitating disease is even greater.
George Orwell warned us. The global elite would twist reality, convincing the masses that war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. And here we are. The evidence is overwhelming, yet so many still cling to the establishment's lies. After this break, we're joined by a former Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation scientist who will reveal why Bill Gates can never ever admit the truth. You won't want to miss this. Dr. Geert Vanden Bossche, the former Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation scientist and vaccine expert, warns that Gates' mRNA push will result in worldwide populations experiencing a completely unprecedented plunge. Bossche predicts that the death toll will be up to 30 to 40% in highly vaccinated countries. He also explains why the global elite and their propagandists in the mainstream media can never admit the truth.
If these people would now go out and say, oh, wait a minute, yeah, we have been making some mistakes, it wasn't all right, we have to correct them and we have to revise our opinion, these people would be stoned in the street, right? They have no choice. They have no choice other than to stick, even if they completely see how wrong they have been, they have no other choice. They can only hope that something will happen that will distract from this issue, that will distract it, but it won't. And so they keep silent, or they just continue along the path that they have been walking along so far. But I can tell you that many of them must be desperate. But, being together, they feel protected. This is a big lobby. This is a big lobby, and they think that everybody thinks that the other will protect them, right? Which is not the case. But this is this typical feeling. You all have committed crimes, but you are a big group, and it's like the mafia. And you feel all together, you feel like a big team and nobody can penetrate into the team, etc. It will collapse because the truth will surface. This has been a large-scale experiment of gain of function on the very human population. This is something that will be reported in history for many, many generations to come, much longer than the talks that have, taken place after World War I and World War II, etc.
We, the people, are standing at a crossroads in history, and we've got to make a choice. We can either hold the criminals responsible, punish them for their crimes at Nuremberg 2.0 trials, and forge a new path for humanity. Or you can accept the global elites' new world order, where you won't need to own things, and you can't complain about Bill Gates' death panels, because that will lower your social credit score, and the state will push you to the front of the queue to be euthanized.
Welcome to the New World Order. This New World Order will be a new society and features lots of changes. This new society is great for some and not so great for others. In the New World Order, you will learn to love to live more modestly. You do not need to own things when you can simply lease them from your loving government-approved companies. We will transform our current pollution-ridden cities to something much more beautiful, and you will love it. Life in the New World Order will be different. In this new perfect world, cash will be illegal. Everyone will be issued a certain amount of global credits, which will be the only way you can buy and sell in the new society. These digital financial credits will also be tied to your social credit scores. Your credit scores will become your digital footprint and will be used to control your travel, what you can buy, where you can live, your energy usage, medical excess. Everything you do will be in a government database. This is great. You will be issued more credits if you are good and promote our new system. Citizens will be given less global credits if they ever criticize the New World Order. If you are non-binary, a demented pedophile, can barely think, worship the devil, and help promote the New World Order, you will be greatly rewarded with extra credit each month. Since robots and AI will replace most jobs, you will have more time to play your favorite video games and watch more Netflix. This is so great. In the new society, parents will not be allowed to make decisions for their children. The government will raise your kids. Each child will be assigned a state-sponsored caseworker. These caseworkers will teach your kids that everything is racist, how to be queer or gender fluid, and teach them about all the different sex positions. If you object to your caseworkers teaching techniques, or if you object to the caseworker sleeping with your child, everyone in your family will be docked global credits, and your family could be relocated to a FEMA camp. Resistance is foolish. Meet Stacy. Stacy is one of our best caseworkers. Stacy could be in charge of one of your kids. How great would that be? In this New World Order, it's important to follow the rules. Certain websites will be illegal.
Daddy, what is Infowars.com?
Oh crap.
If you see something, say something. You as a citizen should report your neighbors if they aren't following the new rules. You have the power to make the world better. Caring, reporting, assisting, progressive, C-R-A-P, which stands for crap. You too can be a piece of crap and will be greatly rewarded. As we see here, this man misgendered a man lady. The police are dealing with him in the most fitting way. This offender seen here did not recycle his paper straws. If you don't like this, you will be sentenced to death by lethal injection.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Things will get so bad in our society. Your family will be begging for the New World Order. You will need the government in order to survive. In this new utopia, if you do not comply with our new laws and regulations, our totally not corrupt federal and local judges will make sure that you are given the proper penalties. Jail, financial ruin, death penalty, anything is possible. As we all adjust to the new normal, it's important to remember that you do not matter. Do not complain about the hyperinflation. Do not complain about the higher taxes. And do not complain about Bill Gates' death panels. This is for the greater good. This is what I call happy making time. Let us all celebrate this new world order. The new world order. Please stay a while. We won't keep you for long. We'll keep you forever. 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 Forever.
Here at the People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the crimes of the global elite.